Cool. In comes.
Mr. Bradley?
How you doing? Pleased to meet you.
They call me Hota Behota in Madrid, Spain.
Okay. Don't you think it's strange that if you have a good single, you easily sell so much more records than by touring your guts off for like a couple of years? I did an interview with the Sugar Ray a couple of years ago, and I loved their first album. Then the second came out, and then they had a huge hit with Flying, and they were like, yeah, one hit in Flying did more for us than touring for 5 consecutive years.
I mean, that's just there's the avid music listener who's going to seek out music that means something to them, and that's like probably the three of us sitting here. But a vast majority of the population isn't like that, and music isn't as important to them as it is to us. So they're only taking what's fed to them, be it MTV or real middle of the dial radio. And so in order to reach those people and have them even know you exist, something has to cross those paths, and then you could bring them into your world. You know what I mean? But you could tour. Yeah, I mean, you can do it through touring. I mean, bands like Metallica and Slayer, they get no radio play. Metallica does now, but they used to not. I'm talking about back then. Yeah. And they sold records, and they certainly packed. They sold tickets too. So there's different ways to go about it. But in today's culture is so pop oriented, and the choices on your middle of the dial, like real mainstream stuff, is generally you get like 8 choices a quarter. You know what I mean? So if somebody like us fools can jump in there and give them something, then that's cool. I mean, we want as many people as possible to hear what we're doing.
I was actually surprised that Limp Bizkit was so popular in the States. I mean, I was like, when their first records came out and when Korn and Deftones came out in California, I was like, the first time I heard that, I was like, this is really loud stuff in your face. This will never be played on radio. And there you go, they get airplay too.
But that's the story of touring. Like, Limp's first record, they were on the road for an exceedingly long time. They did every single tour that they could possibly do, and they opened up for bands that already were selling records and bands who people already knew, and they brought energy and they brought something that they cared about to the stage, and they rocked. And that's what made Limp Bizkit happen, is all the touring they did on that first record, on $3 Billy All, which is a cool record, but it doesn't sound very good. But then that set up the whole thing that happened with Significant Other. It was all the touring they did and hanging out with people and being humble and being down. That's what set up, their next record.
It strikes me that a lot of American bands really want to work hard for their music. And it looks to me that like a lot of European bands go like, well, whatever, we just play a tour here, play a tour there, play a gig. American bands really have a drive. You agree?
I totally agree. You got to understand. I mean, I can't really speak for what it's like in any other country. Though we spent some time there, it's not like we grew up there. There's a huge amount of competition in the States, and there's a lot of people who want to do this, and there's a lot of really good people that aren't even getting the chance. A lot of really, really talented people, which, should be humbling for any American musician, knowing that there's people that are probably just, or if not more talented than you are, that never got this shot. So don't turn around and say, I'm not doing this interview. Who the fuck are you? You know what I mean? Be glad anybody wants to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we've all been doing this for too long to be flippant about it. You know what I mean? It's like there's some reason that we've spent our lives doing this. We've sacrificed relationships and so much shit to be able to do this, that, we're not going to suddenly think, oh, we're now important because we have a hit single. It's like we've made lots of cool records. You know what I mean?
Actually, the first impression I got when you got your record, like 2 years ago, I was like, oh, there's some smart record consecutive who put together a band of a couple of guys and they're jamming and they're making the music everybody wants to hear. And then I found out that you guys had like massive roots, and I was like, shit.
Well, that's where it's, the quick thing, easy thing to think when looking at how thought out this whole thing is like, oh, some smart record exec did this. It's like, no, some smart kids who've been working in the music business and producing records and on tour for their entire lives have gotten to this point in time and said, okay, this is what we're going to do. And, the funny thing, I made this joke like about 3 years ago. I said, I'm saying the same fucking thing I've been saying my whole life, but now everybody thinks I know what I'm talking about.
Hey, you guys are working on new material, actually, right?
Yeah, we're working on it right now. We've been working since we took January and February off. Rented a little studio space like no bigger than this hotel room we're in, and just wrote songs, or tons and tons of songs. And now we have.
What's it gonna be like?
Oh man, very very musical, definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely it's very musical.
Which means less hip hop, or
No, not at all. Not at all. It just means like you know, I think a lot of people are going to be surprised by our next record, and it's not that we're going to go in some obscure direction or something. You know what I mean? It's just in the power of the material and the power of the songs. Like, you know, I think we're not. This band isn't scared to do anything, so we'll make even prettier songs than Butterfly, but we'll make heavier songs than B-Boy 2000.
why would you be scared to do that?
A lot of bands are.
Why would you?
A lot of bands would never have put out a song like Butterfly. I've been in bands where I wrote something that was great, and they were like, that's too poppy. I have heard that directly come out of other people's mouths in other bands that I've been in. Too poppy. It's real to me. You know what I mean? I wasn't trying to write a pop song. You know, I've been in other bands where they said, that's too heavy. Too heavy? You know what I mean? It's like, this band doesn't ever go about saying, that's too, you know, if the six of us feel something, then it's on. You know what I mean?
So you don't feel any pressure for producing another hit single?
I feel the pressure of time because all I want to do is make this new record. I'm not worried about this band coming up with cool songs. You know, if anything passes through the six of us and we all think it's cool, you know, from our experience of doing this forever and how much we all care about it, that's what we go on. That's how we handle everything.
What did you guys want to achieve with the music when you started off?
With Crazy Town and specifically, to pretty much do exactly what we're doing. You know, the hope was that this would all work out the way it has. Granted, we've been some left and right turns we didn't expect, but that's life.
Like what?
Oh, like, you know, some of the problems that this band has had last summer. You know, last time we were here in Amsterdam, we were crazed. You know, just because we had a lot of unsettled stuff going on at home. Some of the younger guys in the band, this is the first time they've really been away forever. Ending of relationships, you know, and you know, drugs, whatever. And we were on Ozfest last year, and we had to go home because we really were not in a good place. We were still killing shows, but that was about it. The rest of the day was a fucking nightmare. So we left, and we said, you know, not like this. You know, if we're gonna do this, cool, but not like this. And we went home, and that's when everyone really reassessed, you know, their priorities. And you know, there's a huge price to pay to do this, and everybody has to be willing to pay that price. Because if you're not, it's just not gonna work. And we went home and really did some soul searching and decided, you know, what the fuck are we doing here? It's all right here for us.
But how does it work? I mean, is there one guy in the band who's like the band leader goes like, well, you turn out to be an asshole, so you better clean up your act or you're fucking out of the band?
It's a dysfunctional family. It's a functional, dysfunctional family.
So you kick the shit out of each other and then you join?
There is a democracy. I mean, we are a family and we're like brothers, but we can discuss as adults. You know, if someone's having a problem, I mean, we all love and care enough about each other that we can call each other on whatever it is, you know. But we do. It's like the six of us when we're together. You know, it's us. It's our world. And hey, if somebody's got something to say, they got a problem. You know, we're there for each other. You know, that's the only way this is gonna work. I mean, if we're on the same page. You know.
Yeah, we're at our best when we're all together. You know, the really probably one of the best things about this next record is that we'll probably end up doing most of it before we ever go home. It's like, you know, we're all, you know, we're not afraid to say anything to each other, and we keep each other in check all the time. So, like, yeah, Butterfly blew up and it's this worldwide success, but we really haven't changed. And that's because it's always the six of us, and we haven't had any time to be away from each other and kind of grasp like, wow, we done blown up. So, like, you know, just it's that attitude of that that's why we're all just thinking about the second record, because the six of us, that's where our heads are at.
What's the new single gonna be like?
Our next single?
The new poppy single?
Which one? You mean off this album?
No, the new one. The new album. I mean, you must have written a new pop song already, right?
Well,
You can't tell yet.
yeah, it's,
Come on, you're gonna change the title anyhow. So.
No, seriously,
hard to tell.
you really can't tell. Like there's a great quality in all these songs that we've written, and I think it's going to be interesting. I don't know if there's going to be one that jumps out as that's got to be your first single. It's gonna
yet anyway. We don't know. I mean, that's how good the music. I mean, him, myself, and Fado, we did the tracks. I mean, we wrote 12 songs in January.
Yeah.
We have the music, basic arrangements for these 12 songs right now. Now we're already we have a Pro Tools system on the tour bus, so that's the next, songs are going to be coming out in the next 2 months. I mean, we're going to have about 30 songs to choose from before
we're not looking at it as, oh, that's the one. Like, it's more like we want to really complete 30 songs and then be able to look at them, and then then maybe we'll be able to look and say, okay, well that one is definitely for sure.
So you don't even have a working title for the album yet?
Not for the album. There's some songs we have working titles for.
We're looking for news, man.
We got a whole bunch of titles.
Give you one name.
Here, yeah,
Bitch Made.
Yeah, Bitch Made is definitely going to be on the next record. We have a lot of joke titles for the next record, like why do we even put this out? Or One Hit, One Door.
Yeah, One Hit, One Door.
One Hit, One Door. That's a really good one. I shouldn't even say that one. Someone will steal it. That we just came up with that yesterday.
That's the first I've heard.
One Hit, One Door is really funny. We have a lot of working titles. We'll see what happens.
Okay, thank you guys very much.
Thank you very much.